We are live. Okay, I got the opening question.
Mm-hmm.
Opening question. What's the most audacious thing you think you can do?
That's a great question.
You want me to start just to kind of get the ball rolling?
Yeah, let's get the ball rolling.
Got it. So I heard this question. I wish I came up with it because it's so funny to me. But it's from Quick Question with Soren and Daniel
Oh, great,
uh,
great.
of Cracked fame.
Mm-hmm.
And other things. Daniel's has won fucking Emmys now on on like the Daily Show. Oh, not the Daily Show.
On the Last Week Tonight,
Last Week Tonight with John Oliver,
has
yeah, senior writer.
Daniel the Manual. He has more nominations than The Sopranos.
Yeah,
Did you
that
know?
show
That's
has
crazy.
more nominated every year. Every year they get a thing.
That's crazy.
That's wild. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, in that I agree with them.
Mhm.
I think I can land a helicopter if needed.
Okay, that is audacious.
Helicopter or a plane?
Oh, a helicopter or a plane? You think you
Yeah.
could kind of take a crack
Yeah,
at
man.
either?
Yeah, I think I can do it.
Okay.
Let me tell you why. In my extensive
Yeah,
manliness,
please.
that I think I can do it. A lot of it's automated nowadays, and there's always someone in your ear for air traffic. More so for airplanes and helicopters, although helicopters you got to keep in touch with people.
Sure.
So, and they have protocol to like how to talk someone to land something, just in
Okay.
case. And I think
Okay.
I could do. I think I could do that, unless it's night. Then like fuck that, because I also know regular pilots struggle with that. So
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So
but
day emergency landing.
yeah, emergency. I'm in a plane with someone or in a helicopter, and I
Mhm.
gotta like land this plane, land this helicopter. Something went bad. I
Ooh.
think I could
Okay.
do it. It's
Okay.
pretty audacious, but I think I can do it.
Pretty audacious, but theoretically, I mean, yeah, you make a good point with the mission control in ideals. Here's
Yeah.
the immediate thought I had when you
Got
said
it.
helicopter first was like the pilot knocks out. How many seconds do you have before your helicopter is just fuck?
That's a good question. I don't know, unless their like body falls on it, right?
On the joystick? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's probably not called that. Yeah.
On the the on the fun wheel or whatever. No,
Yeah.
I think there is a sort of cruise control, I believe, but like
Oh, okay.
at that point I'm
Okay.
talking out of my ass. That's a good question,
Sure.
Ian. Um
Mm-hmm.
I think I would spring into action
Mm-hmm.
and and
Mm-hmm.
be able to yank him off the set.
You would know this is. You know what? This is do or die. I
Yeah.
have to man this craft. Okay. Okay.
Plus I think if I can get into the other seat too, you can override somehow, some way.
Oh. Okay. 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 I wonder what Nick makes of that, and what his answer to the question
It's pretty audacious, isn't
is.
I feel like I feel like the way you justifies it is the most audacious part of it, but
Mm-hmm.
I do think
That's part of it, right?
you are capable.
Mm-hmm.
You won't do it well. You could.
No, I'm not saying I'm gonna
Well.
do perfect. Right? I'm gonna get us home safe, though.
I pay Chris the compliment that I agree. I don't think everyone would die, or even most of them would die. I think most of them would be fine. Probably.
Yeah.
And we wouldn't blame you. And we wouldn't. Hey, we wouldn't blame you.
Yeah,
we wouldn't blame you.
No. All right. So who's got the most audacious thing they can do? Now that we established that I could totally land a plane and or helicopter.
That's pretty good. Oh man.
I mean, Ian, like, do you have anything? I have one, like a half answer.
All right, go, Nick, go.
Yeah.
The most audacious thing I can do.
Yeah.
I mean, I think
Stop a plane jacking.
Stop a plane
I
jacking.
see it in your eyes. I see it in your eyes.
It's all connected back to 9/11.
Yeah.
You know, if I was there, you know.
Yeah, the Mark Wahlberg thing. If you were there, If you were there, only one plane would have hit the towers.
Yeah, well, I'll be shamed if I use a time machine and I don't stop it, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like, do what you gotta do, you know?
Yeah.
Wait,
So,
is your most audacious thing I would invent time travel to stop
yeah, is
my
that
That's audacious. That's audacious, sir.
That is audacious.
that's audacious. Now, what's your most audacious thing, Nick?
Yeah.
You think? You're honest to God. You feel it in your chest.
My chest. Oh man, audacious. I guess would be. I think. I think I can fix The Godfather 3. I think if you
You
give
think
me
you
a
can
chance,
fix The Godfather 3?
I think I
Notice-
could.
Okay, beyond, and I mean beyond, like, just don't let it happen.
No, I think like you mean re-edit the raw footage,
I have-
restore it. Maybe.
Yeah, what do you mean? What do you
Audacious.
mean?
I think I can fix The Godfather 3, and I think I can fix Bionicle Lore. I can only do one or the other.
Ooh, wow.
What's
what is the
wrong
other-
with
it's-
Bionicle lore as someone
The
who's been out of
biggest-
it? What's the problem?
We're gonna be here all night. The biggest
Oh my God.
thing with Bionicle Lore
Right.
is that there was the famous lawsuit of they had to retcon a lot of Maui
Yeah.
or any form of
Oh, I think you told me this.
real life terminology.
Yeah.
But then it you know, nowadays all people remember is Montanui. All they know is Malago.
Yeah, I
Like
only
all
know
they know
Monterey.
is
Yeah.
yeah. So it's like I'm like, well, I think, you know, I could at least rectify that, and then also
Okay.
Wait, but like the solution, are you saying like the solution would be, oh, just never bring in the Hawaiian or like Polynesian
Thing.
no, the
mythos?
audacious thing is I think I can integrate it better than
Okay.
what they did
Wow, that is audacious. Without making people angry.
without making people angry. Everyone's happy about the plastic toys fighting each
Yeah.
other
Okay.
on the island.
Now, Nick, you are a Hispanic man in
Yes.
LA, and you're telling me right
Well-
now, right here, like that you that your knowledge of both Bionicle and Polynesian and like Native Hawaiian lore, not lore, it's not fucking lore, mythos.
It's all lore.
Mythology.
You're right.
Mythology.
Made it up.
I fucking, oh my God, that's like one of my
Lore.
most hated things with young people now is just lore.
Everything's
is
lore.
history.
Yeah,
everything's lore.
Oh, my lore. My
It's so disrespectful. Whatever.
went to-
It's
yeah.
I'm ready to defend. I'm ready to defend him on this one, and let me remind you.
okay.
Let me remind you of something.
Okay.
I'll just briefly.
Yes.
I'm typing real fast.
You know what? I asked for this. This is audacity. The audacity of these.
We're
things.
getting audacious.
I'm
the
sure
most-
I have one.
The most popular Polynesian film, character series, and music. It's all written by that New York Puerto Rican guy who writes all the music for Disney now. So
Fuck.
maybe he is the person to fix the Bionicle lore. Who's to say?
Who's to
Who's to
say?
say? Who's to say?
Okay. So
I-
do we go? Do I even want to ask? You know what? I do want to ask because The Godfather 3 is the one stopping me. Right?
Stop.
Like,
Okay.
what would you do?
What? Yeah. How? Would you
So
The height of
I-
hubris, by the way, is saying I can take your art and make it better.
you know what?
I love
Yeah,
that.
that's the height of hubris. But I'm more comfortable with the Bionicle stuff because it's far enough and it's
Yeah,
and
but
it's
you started
convoluted
with The
enough.
Godfather 3, and that's
I-
like
hang
a
on.
big. like,
You are doing that thing where you're getting mad before I explain.
okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Go for it.
So my thing is,
Yeah.
we stick to the book. We
Okay.
stick to the book,
Okay.
and we cold open.
Okay.
We do that thing where we start with the middle of the story as the
Yeah.
first scene
Sure. Okay.
to hint at what's become right before
Mhm.
foreshadowing.
This is already something I hate, but like, yeah.
Hang on.
Okay.
Because my way of fixing it
Yeah.
is that I think 3 needed a better hook. I think it needed a better way to hook in what the story is versus what 1 and 2 were.
Okay.
Well, 1 and 2 where you were just experiencing the Godfather, like for the first time, like you don't know this family, you know the deal. By 3, everything's established. It's just now taking in direction of the son, right? So I'm thinking we open with the son being paranoid. He's gonna kill the baby while having sex with his pregnant wife.
Yeah,
but he's doing it in his accent. Like when he thinks, he's in the accent. So when he's thinking, "Oh, I'm gonna hit the child too hard."
Yeah.
That's how I fix it.
That's
okay. Okay.
You had a little comedy to it. That's
that's all I needed. It just because you need to. The audience just needs to know that it's gonna be about the son, whether you like it or not.
You know what, Nick? I will commend you in that you're not going back all the way to just like reshoot and like rewriting.
Oh God,
no, that's audacious. That's stupid.
No, that you're going like I can add a dialogue track and just move around some scenes and then it'll be fixed and just edit. I mean, that's a lot cheaper and easier than what I thought was gonna happen. Like
we were gonna resurrect the dead and reshoot.
Okay. You know what? That is something that's weird. Do people with accents think in their accents? They like.
I think people with different. You what? Really?
No, I mean, well, whatever accent this is, right? Whatever fucking L.A. SoCal bastardization of English. This is.
It's Cali English.
I think Creole. I think in French Creole.
French Creole.
Every time.
Can I think in French Creole?
Go for it.
I'm
doing it right
now. Cajun accent. Haitian Creole, do it all. All of them.
Oh, I'm gonna watch that movie. I'm gonna have a real. That's probably not it. That's probably not the voice.
Yeah, it's like French English. Like you gotta.
Yeah. You must, right? Because like in order to call it an accent, you have to have a reference point.
Yes. You know? Yes. You're comparing. All accents are compared against. Like nobody speaks a neutral tone.
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah.
Because like they do. Because you're right. Movies do that. Where like the thinking is somehow this elevated, like speech, right, or dialogue, versus like whatever chaotic thing's going on.
Yeah, that's like how Transatlantic was so popular. Like everyone was like, "Well, that's civilized, correct speaking." Yeah,
civilized.
Yes.
Well, comics kind of do that because, like, comics in the think bubble have like the abbreviated version.
That is true.
So they're Italians thinking Italians, or like in Gambit's case, they're Creole.
They're thinking Creole,
thinking like a mutant.
All right, so
that's what I do. Yeah.
So Ian, what's your most audacious claim?
I'm gonna tell the queen to fuck herself.
She's dead.
I mean, you could.
I mean, I wanted to do that, but she died.
She did die. I'll tell the king to fuck himself.
Yeah. It's audacious.
I think I like just generally not following the usual protocol in those situations. Like, I don't know, audacious. If I was in a room and I was like, and someone was like, "Do you want to shake the president's hand?" I would definitely be like, "Nah, I'm good, thanks, thank you."
Is that audacious? Hang on.
I think as an American, you're like there's a little bit of an expectation of like, oh, somebody walked up to you and was like, "Oh, you can meet the president right now and say hello and shake his hand." I was like,
you wouldn't take like the opportunity to, I don't know, you get your hands all cold and clammy beforehand, make it really uncomfortable, or like just a little spit, but then kind of like rub it, then get it going.
I have a comment.
Ass. Like nature.
Oh, like Mallrats. Yeah.
I have a comment that I want every listener to know. The comment is for whatever president you think I'm referring to. I feel like I'm going to touch him and feel the cold sting of death already. It's going to be clammy and unpleasant. It's not going to be. It's going to be like.
Okay.
Yeah. It's gonna be like shaking like a thin glove over bones. It's nah.
Yeah.
Nah.
And people already know my thing with authority. I would totally like. It doesn't matter what president to me.
Yes, exactly.
It would just be.
There's 8 dudes that my comment applies to, and I meant it to all the people applicable. There you go. Yeah.
It's pretty audacious.
That's pretty audacious.
That's audacious.
Mm-hmm.
But now I know I can't count on you in an emergency situation, unlike my own hands that will be able to bring down a plane or helicopter.
No, I'm not that audacious. No, we would die. Yeah. Sorry.
Would you ever do the thing of is there a doctor here? No one says anything, and you just go, "I'll help," and then they go, "Are you a doctor?" But you'll go, "No, but I'll help."
Okay.
Would you do that?
Oh yeah, the David Wong thing.
I know.
Genuinely, that's within my character, and I may even do a. Well, I do have a doctorate in fine arts. I can emergency park at the museum. Let me see the patient. I don't know. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Fair enough. Not any of us know what's going to happen in a dangerous situation.
You do act different when you're in a no shit minute. That's true.
Yeah.
That's for sure. Yeah.
Much like our protagonist who doesn't know what to do when their friend decides to leave.
What a clean segue to
wasn't that nice? I was trying to pull that out of my ass right now.
Oh.
And also I'm trying to get the cast again because I accidentally closed the window. I don't know why.
No.
But anyway, today's go ahead.
No, you go.
Okay. Anyway, today's podcast is, if you haven't seen the title, we're discussing I Saw the TV Glow, which is the second part of the trilogy by Jane Schoenbrunn. I wish I should have looked up how to probably pronounce her name. Jane Schoenbrunn. The second movie. And our first movie of October of Spooky Month.
Heck yeah.
Watch this, and then what did I think we kind of like mentioned in the last podcast what we knew before going in, but just did. For the sake of it, let's go with Rising Action. Anyone know what did you all know before going in? You can even state the obvious, like I watched the movie and then we fucking.
I mean, we technically all watched like the first of the trilogy.
Yeah.
Yes. And it was interesting to see what carried over. I would say that I knew that this one was going to be. I had explicitly been told that this one has some allegorical elements, but like watching Going to the World's Fair, I was like, oh, okay, I think I know what to be on the lookout for, and kind of, and that Justice Smith was in it.
That one I knew because people were just like, it's the guy from Detective Pikachu.
Detective Pikachu in the D&D movie. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, I had no idea. Cast wise. Again, just only knew the director and what we saw before. So honestly, that's about it.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, that's more or less what I knew. And then we watched the movie. Well, I still had that thing of like, hey, I watched Twin Peaks season 3. That made me want to make my own movie for this, and that was always in the back of my head, which makes a lot of sense. There's a lot of Lynchian stuff going on.
There's many shots. There's many shots and scenes. Definitely, we'll want to touch on that are like, oh, that's Lynchian. That's a Lynch like moment. Definitely. Yeah.
All right, so. Let's just get into it then with the climax of the movie. So, so this movie starts out with your protagonist kind of narrating and even directly talking to the audience or you, to kind of already break down the TV barrier.
Yes.
As well as this. And you start early. You start with them at the age they are for most of the movie, which is like 9th grade.
Middle school, yeah, 7th and 9th, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he starts at 7th, but I mean, like most of the movie you're spending with him, he's in 9th.
Yes.
Or like in high, or like an adult, like has his job and everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you're starting with that, but then go back to them really young. And already they kind of like you're getting hints of like there's a little thing with their folks, with their mom.
Yeah.
And just like they don't, how do I put this? I don't want to say something wrong because that's not right, because that's what the parent says, but it's more like they don't know quite what's going on with the kid.
And they don't know how to connect with him. They're very disconnected. Yeah.
It's just that thing of like, oh, my kid's doing that thing where they're not interested in this shit, and they're acting like that, you know?
Right.
Before you find out, but the kid already has an attachment, which is a big interest in the Pinko Pig, which he hasn't even seen at that point because he's not allowed. Yeah. Comes on too late. Which kids, if a show just came on too late and you weren't allowed to watch, and you weren't allowed to stay up that late with strict folks, like I did, guess what? You just didn't fucking watch that until like the internet came along.
Yeah. And this is a pre-internet story. Also, we should say it's 96 when it starts.
Yeah. Starts in 96. Starts on election day, which is interesting. That must be a small town thing where like you bring your kids to elect. Because I was like, was there a moment where you can have more than one person in an election booth?
No, you're not supposed to. And
I'm
so glad you mentioned that actually at the top, because now I'm looking back at it, and that moment is still kind of odd to me. Like, there's a very lingering shot of, I've got the cast open here. Young Owen is played by little Ian Foreman, and you just see like a lingering shot of his hand caressing like
the buttons.
Bush Gore or
that was Clinton. It was Clinton. Oh my god, there was one name that I saw that went, wow, I haven't heard that name in a long time, and it is leaving me. Ross Perot. Wow, you knew that. You knew that too, Ian.
I remember the first weird billionaire that tried to be president.
Yeah, Ian knows exactly the person I would attach. I would hold on to. Remember that shit? Anyway, because I shouldn't, but I do know about it. But anyway, he's kind of doing the buttons thing. What? Because that scene could be just nothing, and that scene could be just like, hey, you know how small towns, schools are always doing things to get the kids and parents involved, and it could be as simple as mixing, election day or whatever. Because they mentioned like one other day.
Yeah, Founders or like Pioneer Day, I think is what
something.
They said. Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe it's that. It could just be like, hey, he likes buttons.
Sure.
As we figure out later, which is a sensory thing. But no, he wants to watch the Pico Pig.
Yes.
And so he meets this magical pixie girl. No, meets this girl who's reading the channel, like the episode guide for the show. And then they start talking. She does like the little like, it's not really bullying, but it's like kind of poking fun. Haha, you're a baby. Actually, that part where she's like, I'm in 9th grade, and then she's like, what are you, 7th? And she's like, oh, you're fucking baby. I started like, because it's so funny and dumb to me. Just kids. But like the only way that could have been too much is if young Owen was like, I'm not a baby.
I'm not a baby. You're a baby.
But it's more of, and I think that's kind of on purpose. He's more focused on, I really want to watch the show. Is this somehow, like, even as a kid, it's like, maybe there's a way I can watch it if you're watching it, right?
Right.
Vicariously.
Yeah.
So, they make the agreement he's going to sneak over to her house to watch the Pink Opaque. And it's kind of like his step. In a weird way, this connection is a step into like acting a little older as a kid.
Yeah.
You know, that thing. Both in, going out, being more proactive in like what you're doing outside of school and like hanging out with other people. But also, and I don't know how y'all feel about this. I think lying to authority is like part of like childhood.
Sure.
Like, except I think that's a big milestone. Definitely. I think like trying to trick or like, figure out how to expand whatever kind of like, not prison, but a confinement that you feel.
Yeah, the boundaries that your parents set up, wanting to, be independent, do your own thing, figure it out. Yeah.
And it doesn't even have to be just your parents. I think it could be just like any institution, something like school or like, if you don't have parents, maybe like whatever program you're part of. Those two. I think that's just part of it.
Yeah.
every kid's a rebel. You think?
I think most kids need that moment of rebellion. And
I think so too.
I just want to mention also early on, it's throughout the whole film, like the color palette in this movie is fucking dope.
Oh, it's great.
I loved it.
Yeah.
Really cool. All bisexual lighting.
It's all bisexual. So like, yeah, one thing definitely worth throwing out also is in that establishing shot when we do one of the first long shots we get is Owen in the parachute game in that very building where he meets what was her name? Maddie, I think.
Maddie.
Yeah,
Maddie.
We get that parachute and it's all ace and bisexual colors in that parachute, and I was like,
oh wow,
cool.
I didn't. Yeah, you're right. I didn't even. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, there's a little foreshadowing.
Oh my gosh, that may actually be really direct foreshadowing. Yeah, we'll talk. Yeah. We'll talk as that goes. But they get into the Pink Opaque, and it is a deeply spooky show. Very like the ice cream monster. I was like, oh, that would have scared me as a kid.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's pretty freaky.
Yeah, the effects on the actual ice cream monster is pretty cool. But it's supposed to be. Oh, go ahead.
No, please.
I was gonna say it's very comparable to what was it? Are You Afraid of the Dark? Or like, it really captured that tween like horror, where like we're gonna kind of push the boundaries of how scary we're gonna make this, but also we have no money, and also tweens have to come in on top.
Yeah.
So it's that weird thing of like it has to feel kind of adult, but it can't because we got to get past the network. But tweens also want to feel like they're, watching something mature, watching something they shouldn't be, like something beyond what they're told they're supposed to watch.
Yes.
And I think that it captures it so well. There's parts of it that look so like trashy, but it's great, and like the green screen effect.
I was so greatly
them floating above the docks is hilarious looking.
Oh my god! The big moon face of Mr. What was it, Mr.
Mr. Melancholy.
Mr. Melancholy.
We'll have to talk about Melancholy later.
Definitely. So, I just loved I wanted to talk about a little bit about the actual show within the movie, the Pink Opaque. I loved that shot of the two boys eating their like Kingdom Hearts ice cream on the curb when they're talking. That's the setup, and I was like, wow, this feels like Pete and Pete, because that was another Nickelodeon pull that I really, and I was really happy because when I did do some looking into it for Jane Schoenburn's work, she listed like a whole bunch of things in specific, as you said, Are You Afraid of the Dark? Pete and Pete, Buffy the Vampire Slayer,
Freaky Links. I'm gonna go on a limb. I don't know if Freaky Links is
so weird. If that was one for anybody.
I just want to say shout out to anyone who remembers Freaky Links. I know no one else besides me and Nick that watched it. So I wouldn't even be able to tell you what fucking channel.
Weird Ohio.
Yeah, weird. But yeah, so they gave a list of like a whole thing.
They gave a list of all these kind of influences, and but just also like when looking back at those specific references from the 90s, like there was an ethos of get weird with it. Like what is children's entertainment anyway? Like can we have a bus driver get dumped and then threaten to drive a class of children off a bridge?
Yeah. Or that one, whatever. Oh my god, is it Are You Afraid of the Dark? Or like Goosebumps, where that kid is like he's brought into the wrong surgery room, like he's getting his tonsils removed, and then they're like, we have to crack your chest open.
Oh my gosh, I don't remember.
Like brain surgery effort. If I find it, I'll let you know.
That's spooky. That's spooky.
That is spooky. That's a real ass horror. That's something.
Yeah.
That's something that just can happen. Like,
as a child, you do think like, oh, what if they did put me in the wrong room?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Especially when you realize adults make mistakes all the fucking time.
Constantly. Yeah. So we get to see the Pink Opaque. It sets up a story between two girls named Tara and Isabel.
Brenda. Oh.
Brenda.
Is it? No. It's Tara and Brenda. Yeah.
Tara and Brenda.
No, wait. Fuck. Hang on. I think you're right. I think it's Tara and Isabel.
Okay.
My bad.
But as you verify.
I'm checking.
The two girls have like a cute little ghost tattoo, and they have psychic abilities that help them fight monsters. So it's like a monster of the week, very Buffy-esque. Like lots of
your favorite. Yeah,
I love it.
It's Isabel and Tara. Yeah, Isabel and Tara. You're right.
Oh, okay. Anyway, and so a friendship is born between Owen and Maddie, essentially just religiously watching and talking about the Pink Opaque, how much they love this supernatural show.
Yeah.
And one thing that definitely jumps out at me at that point in the story was like, you're right. Like I think a part of those stories was like, adolescents want to be tested. They want to feel grown up. They want to feel like, wow, this is really intense and scary or dark theme or whatever. But there's also like that. I've also being a young person who would like watch bits from Adult Swim as a kid on VHS tapes when I wasn't supposed to. Like the feeling that, oh, I'm actually being exposed to something that's opening me up to like, oh, this is kind of my people. I'm finding this group. And that feeling of like, oh, I can't share this though with the people I'm immediately with. There's something like, because Owen is deeply, clearly nervous about even his family finding out that he's into that show or that he talks about that show or whatever. Yeah.
And for good reason, as we find out.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, his dad is Fred fucking Durst.
I know, dude. Did you recognize it in the movie, or did you wait till the credit, or you didn't realize until the credits?
It was not until afterward, but holy shit.
Me neither, dude. Wow. Oh my god. Because you only get like 2 good shots of his face.
Yeah.
And one of them's like in a real like foreboding, like
eerily lit,
pissed off. You can't tell too much about his face other than he's angry.
And I thought that they were doing like and they probably were deliberately doing like a parallel shot to Mr. Melancholy.
Yeah.
This weird moon-faced ghoul, that keeps alternating in the static. Yeah. Oof. What a time. What a good shot.
Crazy. It's crazy. I mean, hey man, he pulled off the look like the entire time.
It worked on us.
It worked on me. I believed it.
Yeah.
But yeah,
so,
go ahead.
What do we get? We then get like a little bit of a time jump, like 2 years, where we learn that, like Owen really doesn't have any friends other than Maddie, and even then, their relationship still seems kind of stilted a little. Like they're very awkward.
Maddie, and a lot of it is like Maddie doesn't want to like be affiliated like at school. She is concerned with kind of like how she is perceived by people. But she's leaving these tapes for Owen, and Owen loves it. It's the one thing that's keeping him going. Like it's his anchor in that world.
Yeah.
Where he's watching all of them. You get that cool montage of him walking the halls with some very American things written.
Very. Actually, I'm so glad you said so.
Yeah.
Some of those phrases, I wish I had written some more of them down, but some of them were wild.
Yeah.
Oh my
God. It would be 2 years later, right? So 98. 9/11 hasn't happened yet, but I mean, like, the duty and country thing is already a thing.
There's one that was like,
it's middle America.
All virtues are second to bravery was one of them.
Yeah.
Wild. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Okay.
That's what are you trying to say? That just means like be reckless. Don't fucking
Isn't it? Doesn't it?
Don't think about your morals and shit.
Don't do it.
The brave go to Iran. They don't ask questions. They just go.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Fuck. And like, yeah, and all that, but then like going into the photo room and grabbing the tape, watching him. He's hiding him from his folks.
Yeah.
He sits really close to the TV.
Yeah, he does.
I kept making the joke of like, I know they're trying to make this a character thing, but more or less that's how I watch TV anyway, so I'm not gonna judge or anything. just wide eyed and open mouth.
Yeah.
No, so he's watching these, and then he finally comes over again. It's where he hears like the fight with his folks, with Maddie's folks.
Yeah.
Which was hinted at when he was younger, because he kind of did catch that they like her dad's like a piece of shit, like beats her and her mom. And she gets and they get that scene of like, I'm gonna run away. This is it. Which Maddie's like, oh shit, we didn't do the bleachers technically.
Well, yeah, they meet up, and that's kind of the reference of one of the few times we see them grown up, and Maddie is resistant to directly acknowledge Owen. Like there's a long pause after they sit, before they speak. Yeah. I mean, what do you think about that bleacher scene, guys?
I mean, I liked it. There's that. It's very much, as you learn with Maddie, she no longer has that friend that was there the first time. She's kind of given up on the goth thing, and she's gone cheerleader and gone like full high school American, like cheerleader, looking for a boyfriend on a football team shit.
Right.
And then also that rumor that she like groped her or like try to cop a feel.
Yeah.
Which, let's just believe her and say she didn't do it, but I would also not be surprised if she made a move, and it probably wasn't like trying to cop a feel, maybe like trying to kiss.
Yeah.
And
like
her friend. Maybe no, I don't think. No, not quite more, but like she was like, "Hey, I have feelings for you," or something like that, and this probably freaked her friend out.
Yes, I agree. I think that
also like more oral. Never mind, I know which one you're talking about, not the other ones. But
wait, what were you thinking of?
No, don't worry about it. And like, but yeah, then starting to spread that rumor, right?
Yeah. And that scene is valuable to talk about for later, because immediately after the what gives, I think, all three of us the impression that Maddie probably was interested romantically in that girl, and that didn't go well, and that started that rumor. Went directly into her admitting directly to Owen, "I only like girls. Do you like girls?" And
we
he
have
says
so
no.
much in common. Yeah.
The old pickup line. Yeah.
And then when Owen is asked, "Do you like boys?" he just says, "I think I just like TV shows."
Yeah.
And that is a fine evasion, but potentially, for my read on the character, that might be kind of him also obliquely admitting that he's just not interested in anybody like that.
Yeah, he doesn't get romance. Like, romance to him is not.
Like some form of ace, or?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because there's like specific to where it's like you can be into romance but not be into sex, or you can be into sex but not romance, which is always a little I would have to be explained that one a little bit more to me, but
Sure.
then as someone who just like hasn't been part of it,
It was all sex.
All sex all the time, guys.
all sex all
Can't
time,
help
baby.
himself.
We don't need. No, it's a terrible read on that, but I mean like,
No,
but I know
yeah.
there's separate things.
You.
I know there's separate things, so I don't want to
Yes.
get the terminology wrong, but it looks like at least from what we're gathering here, yeah, romance to him just doesn't he doesn't understand that, or he just maybe he does, but it's just there's no feeling there, right? That equates to what other people say.
I think he's definitely looking for like a platonic, deeply affectionate relationship. He doesn't have that with other people, except with Maddie.
Yeah.
But
and it's over at third, like, it's only through like a third or like an outside object, right? Like it's not all interpersonal.
Yeah.
That he can connect.
And I mean, I think that's also just a part of like the movie making a comment on how some people like did do that. Like I remember being a really awkward young person, not knowing how to connect with somebody, and you just talk about like shows, and suddenly you have an easy platform to get in before you learn the more complicated emotional nuance of like being real, talking about your actual. But I mean, and also it helps you have a pathway, and I think Jaden Justice Smith's character says this at some point, like he doesn't want to think about his real life or his family or any of that. It's sad. So
but that also leads into what ultimately becomes his problem towards the end. But we'll talk about the escapism as we get to the ending.
Sure.
So they're explaining that in the bleachers, and there's two big takeaways there, as far as I'm concerned with that scene, which is three, which is them explaining what they're going through, in terms of like, sexuality or like romance. And then the other being Maddie is now like just alone, except for Owen. Right, that's it.
Yeah.
I keep mixing up Justice Smith with like I keep calling him Justice in the movie, but his name's Owen in the movie. With Owen, except for Owen, and it's through the Pinko Pig, like that connection, and she wants to connect with someone emotionally. At least that's my read on it. Even if she doesn't admit it, but she can't. Not even with Owen, who doesn't quite, because he doesn't quite understand how all those emotions work. So there's like, it's isolation, and even being isolated with another person, but they're like, they're also not judging you or anything. Or anything, because they really are just honestly about the show. And they do like the person because it's the only person that's been being fucking like nice to them. And the whole thing. Except for his mom.
Except for his mom, who is herself clearly fucking terrified of Fred Durst. Which we all should be. I think we should all be afraid of Fred Durst.
Oh, you think you got that? Let me try.
Well, in that early shot when Owen has to make actually he's not played by Justice. He's played by the younger actor. Says, I want to go to my friend's house for a sleepover, and she says, you can ask your dad. Can you ask him for me? And then there's a very long lingering shot of her looking like, to me, worried before walking into that room, and we hear like
the TV
Dad is angry, and the only thing I could really pull out from that was the mother like shouting, "He's lonely," da 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 da.
Oh, I forgot about that. Okay, no, you're right. No, I just completely forgot about that. But yeah. So, they have that conversation. That's the first big thing to take out of. The second thing is what Owen's describing as like someone who, like, I'm sure if you like pried me open, there's like nothing there.
I'm empty inside, and I'm too scared to check.
too scared to check. And he's right. Like, he is both metaphorically and literally, as we find out, but also like in the sense of he is too scared to check himself and to figure out and to do like introspection. A lot of it, as we find out, he's so afraid of like confrontation or being in a bad situation that he'll just like keep this stone wall up. Like, as much as he obviously is like either ace or maybe even on the spectrum or some combination of both.
Could be.
This is preventing him from acting the world, and it's not all like it was bestowed upon him. Yeah, he may have to do like work, but he hasn't even tried to do the work type of deal of how to interact.
Yes. That's
true. I'm not trying to like I fully blame people for not connecting. It's not that. It's more like he is comfortable in a weird way. As we find out, as we like get more and more into it, right? Of just staying with the same thing because change is scary.
Well, that's the tragic end is he would rather suffer than do something about it because, and I mean, I think the movie, not to blow the wad all at once, but like the movie basically posits that metaphor in very stark terms is you need to be yourself or it will kill you. It will slowly, day by day, kill you.
Yeah, like a cancer.
Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah.
Like a cancer with the moth. Oh my god, I just like so from there we do the last watching where Maddie is breaking down while watching the show in a great acted moment. Like that looks like a real breakdown.
Yeah.
As opposed to like just but it's that makes it feel like I'm being so fucking mean to people. But it's more of like she's trying so hard to keep it in, but you can't anymore. Your body is fighting against that.
Yeah.
And I think realizing. So, what do you guys think it is? Part of me thinks it really is isolation, and like how there is nothing else except this show for her.
Well, it's knowing that she's not going to that she's going to be going. Like she's running away, and she feels like
awesome. I'm going to be leaving Owen.
Yeah. So I think that it's. Oh man, it's what's troubling is so you got to totally take the movie on how it presents itself. Like, but I guess like ultimately Maddie is the character who took agency in her life and did actually get out of the thing that was not working. And I guess we really have to take the movie on its own words that it's being honest with us. And it's like, well, yeah, she was right. She was right to burn her television and like dimension hop basically by killing herself, by burying herself alive.
Okay, so this is where I was going to be like, it's not quite. Sorry, I felt like I was losing my voice there. It's not quite like leaving is the solution because she doesn't. As we find out with the story later, you know what? Let's go into the night she's gone, real quick.
Sure.
We'll talk about that with Maddie.
Okay.
Because I do think the sequence of events is very important.
Sure.
So Maddie tells him draws a tattoo on the back of his neck, which by the way we are now all obligated to get that tattoo.
Yeah.
So just y'all be ready. I made appointments and everything.
Oh, good.
Well, I have to. No. So Joe draws in a pen and he's trying to scrub it off because he knows his folks are going to be like, yeah, it's not his whole thing. And then you could also argue he's not brave enough to like keep it on, right? To kind of rebel in that way, like Maddie is.
Yeah.
Which should be your first big hint that like, unless you've been really listening to Owen, he's not gonna run away. Like, And
he's
in fact,
definitely
he
not.
doesn't.
No. Yeah.
He confesses to his old friend's mom, who, by the way, handles that situation very well. That, like a good mother should. No, handles it very well, with Owen explaining, like, you have to tell my folks this has been going on.
Yeah.
Again, because he can't tell him himself, the whole confrontation thing.
Yeah.
Which eventually leads to 2 weeks later, Maddie does leave without him, and all that's left is the burning TV, and there's like a manhunt.
Yeah.
And no one can find her.
Yeah.
By then she's gone.
Yeah.
So, which I believe that, because like her parents already were kind of ignoring her. So like they probably wouldn't notice to like some degree until it was too late.
Yeah.
Till probably she was already out of state and shit.
Yes.
So TV's gone, but he's still there. You get that lingering shot on the TV melting.
Yeah.
And then, like, 8 years is the jump?
Yep.
8 years. And man, just working the theater, working late at night. You get the jump scare with Brian O'Malley getting a blowjob from like a hooker or like a prostitute. Which, hey, that I will say this, like, instead of going, whoa, that's crazy, like, I just went, oh man, that's Connor O'Malley, that's crazy, that's awesome, that's fun. We're gonna get some comedy in this.
Yeah, we're just more than happy to see him.
I just think he's great. That's and you know what he is in this movie. Every line he delivers is great. So,
yeah.
Just that scumbag like manager.
He's a real piece of shit. Yeah.
And you get another moment where, like, Owen is still in a world where people just refuse to kind of like understand him, but he's also not like giving them anything. You know?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Because like you could also argue. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say he by that point in the movie is mimicking Maddie.
Yeah.
In the sense that like his posture and they literally parallel the shot between you know him and young him and Maddie and adult him and his manager at the movie theater.
Yeah. It's and then like you could also argue in that scene, like, in a weird way, Connor O'Malley's character is trying to connect with him. He's at least in a very shitty way.
Yeah.
But like humans will attempt connection in whatever form they like see fit.
Yeah.
And he's just trying to understand something, but also like it makes him angry. It's the common like masculine thing where it just makes him angry because it's not fucking working. Anyways, it's not to say he's not like shitty. The character shitty, but it's a very important scene because it shows just like he's still in that. He really hasn't changed, both either in looks, because it kind of becomes unbelievable that 8 years have passed and he hasn't like changed his looks unless you know that character. But like
at the end of the movie, he's supposed to be in his 40s or something.
Yeah, or something crazy. But then he looks like, so I think he looks so sickly in that.
Yes,
and I think that's on purpose, both for like slowly dying, but also I think it kind of parallels his mom, like cancer.
Yeah,
because you don't get too much with her except the fact that she's wearing a headdress now.
Yeah, and looking kind of frail. Yeah,
looking kind of frail.
Like him at the end. Yeah, he's got chemo lips. If you know, like folks who have done chemotherapy,
he does.
Or you get really bad chapped lips. Yeah,
we all have a mutual friend who went through that kind of stuff. So it happens, and like, So and the mom's by this point out of the picture.
Yes,
and is it the 8 years? No, it's before the 8 years. Sorry, we didn't talk about the last tape. Where he gets the last tape from the Pinko Pig before we do the jump, because she mailed one last one. It's the finale. That was it was an abrupt finale.
Yes,
for the show. which got 5 seasons, and I don't know, that's a good run if you ask me. But
that's a real good run for the '90s on a young adult show. Really
5
good,
years. That's crazy. That's that's someone's entire run in high school. Isn't that crazy? Or like more.
Yep.
Yeah, so you get the ending, and it's an intense ending for like kids show.
Yep.
And it reminds me of those things of like you watch as a kid. Can you believe they put such a fucked up episode in children's thing? And most of the time they're not that bad. The only one I can be like is like, wow, I can't believe they got away with that shit. Is like Courage the Cowardly Dog.
Which one are you thinking of in specific?
The last episode is the one with the blue thing, I believe.
Oh god, yeah, that was troubling.
Yeah,
that was
Which isn't the line like "you are not loved" or something like
"You are not perfect."
Oh, you are not perfect. Yeah. Oh, well, that's not that bad. That's a good thing. I actually think that's a good thing. Everyone should learn.
Relatable, yeah. Stay humble.
Yeah, yeah. The terrifying blue fetus is right.
Mine was way worse.
I mean, but I definitely watched the Goosebumps and Are You Afraid of the Dark, and some of them were like weirdly grim, where it would just be like, and I guess they went to hell or whatever. yeah.
Oh yeah. But it's an intense episode. We find out Tara and Isabel are gonna meet up on the dock finally, since the first time since the pilot. But it turns out Isabel gets a call from beyond the grave, or not really from beyond the grave, but she's like, Tara is buried alive. And calls, and you find out that's Mr. Melancholy, like trying to lure Isabel to the dock. And those like moon twins capture her. Marco and Polo, yeah, that's right. Fucking Marco Polo capture. And they it's like a school cafeteria or like school kitchen or something. And then Mr. Melancholy's there with a really cool fact for the moon phase.
Yeah.
Really
he seems to be waxing and waning in the shot.
It's really awesome. Forces her to drink the Luna juice, which sounds so much more nefarious than what it actually is. But still, whenever you explain it, and in fact, when you watch the thing, it feels nefarious. And then it's like a hypnotic effect that knocks her out. And you get that stretchy face, and then you find out they bury Isabel alive as she's like choking. Like, or it looks very much like an overdose. If you've ever had the displeasure of seeing, like, it looks like she's choking on vomit, but it's the Luna juice. Thing. It's so intense for like a children's show. Like, that's fucking crazy, man. Yeah, they were trying to just fuck with kids if that show's real. Which we'll get to. I don't know.
Yes.
So, and that's the thing, and it disturbs Owen so much that he like rams his head into the television, as you find out.
And in that instance, before his father pulls him out, it seems like there's like a doorway opening. Like we're seeing weird, staticky, like
colors and all that,
colors bleeding out into reality, and Justice was actually trying. Owen, sorry, played by Justice, was trying to actually get away from his father, like a handful of times in this shot where
he's trying to get into the TV.
Yeah.
Which makes you think if like, was Maddie trying to get into the TV with that finale?
Exactly.
And if so, why would she send the tape then? As we'll find out.
But then we also get the shot of his father holding him head down in a scalding hot bath. Where he's barfing very Lynchian, like, after effects.
Yeah, purple blood and then like TV static. Yeah, it looks really good. Like, it's the most, in my opinion, that's the most like horror shot, other than like some of the monsters.
Okay,
but that's like, to me, the most intense shot before like maybe the ending.
We'll get there. It's a strong ending. So
good finale. We wrapped up a season of television, you guys. We all did it. Good intensity from everyone all around. No. But yeah, so the Fred Durst running the head under the water thing. That could definitely be interpreted like, I think it's both a combination of his hair was probably on fire, like from TV static, but also like if it's scalding hot, I think he's trying to get him like. Well, we don't know if it's scalding hot. If it is fire, that could just be like smoke that came off.
That's true.
That was on there, but also like that looks like he's trying to calm him down, and his idea of calming him down is through that, like through a episode of like Mania.
Yeah.
Or Sarek.
Yeah.
So yeah, but it is a cold look from Fred Durst.
Yeah.
It's so intense. Like, but yeah, so that was before the big time skip, as we talked about Connor O'Malley's character. On the way home, we get that scene with him trying to order food through a drive-through. And just, yeah, man, ordering drive-through kind of sucks. And as we all know.
Yeah.
Until finally making it down the road, and there's a down power line, and it looks awesome. Like, it looks terrifying.
Love the lighting on that. Yeah.
And then you find pages of what you can kind of assume to be the channel guide.
Yes.
To the Pink Opaque. So, like, what did you guys think that was? Is Maddie dead at that point? Like, is that because that's kind of how I thought she got killed by a power line.
Oh, I thought that was how Maddie came back to our realm. Like Maddie disappeared through the electricity, and through like a portal that's just pouring out pages from the Pink Opaque. Like, and I don't know.
It could just be a simple like when she was coming back into town. Power line went down because it's like shitty infrastructure.
Yes.
And just like almost got killed. Or like it hits the book, right? And fries it.
And just explodes it ill.
Yeah.
And
I will go ahead.
Just one thing, because I don't think it was just a down power line. Like the lighting from far back basically made it look like the
TV.
Like a Doctor Who crack in the universe full of static. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
Other quick note: me and Nick both agreed that must have been a sick episode guide because it had cool illustrations and everything.
Yeah.
For everyone and little shots. I would have. I mean, if I was a kid, I would be. I would have been on top of that shit.
Oh yeah.
Okay, then we find out Maddie's. Oh no, he gets home. He's watching his comfort thing, and then goes to like the next shot is him in the supermarket, and Maddie's just standing there.
Yeah.
Holding like a hunk of meat.
Yeah.
Like raw ass meat. Like she must have ripped open a container or something.
He needed the protein from her trip. Yeah.
I thought that too. I thought she was just fucking eating like.
Yeah. Exactly.
And in the vegetable aisle, you could have eaten a veggie or like.
And then she like lets them know that they need to go talk somewhere safe. Where they're not going. Oh, just worth mentioning the overhead shot on that. It again, some images kind of jump out at me. The trinity of American flags over the produce section. That's something. I don't know. That's something.
I don't know. I would also say that's very real.
Yeah.
If you've ever been to, my closest reference would again be like desert supermarkets and shit.
Arizona, New Mexico.
Or even parts of here in California.
Yep.
And then like Middle America, I've seen. I mean, those pictures of like the fucking crosses made out of Mountain Dew and Coca-Cola. I don't know if you've seen those.
To be an American.
I know. But yeah, and then they go to a bar, a music venue where fucking, oh my god, that one artist.
Phoebe Bridgers.
which I didn't recognize because I only know her through my sister. I recognize King Woman. If you all would believe that,
I believe it.
She was the headliner that came on with the Misfits makeup.
I fucking loved that actually.
Yeah, that's right. I know music. Who says I don't? Anyway, so
I love the lesbian bar act. There was so was it? I don't think they overtly mentioned it, but I did get like this is a lesbian bar energy from the way it was shot.
Yeah, maybe. I didn't see. I was trying to. You don't get a good look at the other patrons.
True. I was trying to check out faces. They don't really show you faces in the crowd.
No,
I saw
you would have to pay that.
A fair number of long-haired patrons, but it yeah.
It's a fucking concert. I mean, I have long. I'm going in and I have long hair.
I've got hair past my ears. Fair enough. Yeah.
But it could be. Yeah. It could be. We don't know.
Could be.
They were very specific acts, so I'd believe you if it was.
Okay.
And like a David Lynch movie, you've listened to almost the entirety of that first song, which is I Saw the TV Glow.
It really, really, that's the name of the song, I Saw the TV. Oh, wow.
Beautiful. Well, I don't know if that's what it's called. That's the first lyric in the in the song.
Another 2 lyrics that did ping my ears as well was I was born blue, I was born a boy, I was born missing you.
Yeah.
So that'll I think come into our take on that. But it's very Lynchian the way that the conversation is structured as well. The tension of I have to tell you something impossible, and so I'm really taking my time to figure out how am I going to communicate this completely impossible thing.
Yes.
And
you also want to do the thing of like catching up, and then how's Owen gonna react? Because Owen had no one. going through all that. Yeah. Except his mom, who then left.
Yeah.
Passed away. Yeah. So it's only his dad, and his dad would eventually pass. Well, that's a little bit later, I think. So they're in the bar. And I do want to point that part out because it's when we're trying to break down the barrier of like reality and the supernatural and all that happens in a bar that's happening in a place of art. It's the bar where underground music is literally happening. Yeah, and people are into it, and that's where the breakdown of reality is. There's a whole thing with me in this movie in that like. The pursuit of art's the way out type deal. It's like this weird. Yeah, you're able to break down the parts of reality as well as like take yourself out of your situation through art. Like art and music having that power.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it is that you get that real high tension with Maddie, as well as the question of what do you remember of that show?
Yeah.
And it's very interesting for Owen that he doesn't state what happens in the show. He states just being around Maddie. Like that's always been able to think about.
Yeah.
These years. Which could be a thing of like,
I missed you.
Yes, but it could also be like on a practical thing being like that's melancholy, like being that's both real melancholy and Mr. Melancholy. Being like, we don't need the details. The emotions are given that it's a way out, you know?
Yeah.
And him, but it is like, I missed you. That's what I remember. The good times I remember are watching that show with you.
Yeah.
Not even watching on his own. And it's there where she's like, can you meet me in this, like, in the school gym? Where she has the planetarium and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I'm going to say the actress's name. I want to say Bridget Lundy Payne.
Yeah.
She gives us a monologue for, I think it's about 7 or so minutes.
It's a long monologue,
It's beautiful. It's beautifully done.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Really good.
Highlight the movie.
It does something here's actually a quality that I think this show has done really well, taking from it's like 90s kids TV inspiration. It takes something melodramatic and then makes it entirely earnestly real to you. That is like the start of for me, like the start of the monologue is arch. It's over the top. It's silly. It's even silly. It's like too much. And as the monologue continues, it starts to feel more resonant. And it's not because she's backing down. It's because the material is, she was already at 100 and the material is now kind of completely caught up with her. And you're just swept in the momentum of, holy shit. The you know, I got as far as Arizona
before I ran out of money.
Before I ran out of money, and I spent my last 50 paying someone to bury me alive. And I think that if it had just been a direct delivery like that, it would have seemed so ridiculous. But what's great is like, and that's Lynchian too, potentially as well, is how do we take the ridiculous and make it feel painfully human and grounded and mortal and relatable and, oh my God, you know?
And to kind of add on to your point there, I think the way you do that, or at least the way they're doing it here, is not only through the magnificent like performance, as we're saying, but also we're adding some very real shit like in there, the running away, the finding a hostel, finding just a place to sleep for the night, but also that very, and I honed in on this, so this is like part of my like read of the movie, is working at a Build-A-Bear for 2 years and it feeling like life just kind of went. And I didn't know, and I was kind of just going through it. I don't remember living through it. I remember just like day in, day out doing that, trying to survive before. And I think it's very important that that happens before she asks to be buried, because that's very fucking human. That's very, especially in our day and age, to just go about a job and be stuck and feel like you're stuck there.
And feel fucking turned off for hours at a time. To like,
because it's. I mean, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, I'll talk about a job I used to have that I don't anymore.
Oh, I think we all got jobs that we used to have that fucking. But I want to hear yours, Ian.
When I took a brief reprise from child work, I went into a tech job for 2 years.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that.
And it did fucking eat you up, man. It was just like, it was, and it leaves you so depleted, and that feeling, and I think this movie also touches on that feeling of feeling so fucking depleted at the end of having to do this to technically survive. And you just feel, you do feel like that chemo hangover. You feel like, is this fucking being alive? This is what being alive is? You know, I go home every day at like 7 after it's dark, and then it's like I have energy for a drink, and then I go to like, this is not being alive, guys. Yeah.
It's not how fast it just goes by. Before you know, and even though it feels so fucking grueling while you're in the middle of it, but I also think your brain, because it sucks so much. Like, and I know people are like, "Oh, you just complain about work." I know I am, but I mean, like, but I think we all have that. Not only because I like think, that way of living, also isn't great, but like, I'm not going to blame anyone for having to do what they're got to do. We all got to, we all got to survive and make a living somehow.
Absolutely.
But also, I think our bodies realize that. Like, it's a form of like weird, low, like very low torture, but your body's like, okay, well, we don't need that. We don't need that memory. You don't need to be at 100. Like, you're not going to remember this. You're going to remember something really good that happened because it was so fucking different.
Absolutely.
Than what you were used to.
Well, and I pay the compliment to my peers that I will say that I think that there's a lot more people who are kind of turned on to that as an idea of like, oh, I'm just not doing that. I'm not going to fucking, I'm not going to throw myself at a job until it starts to like make me question what I'm doing with my life. Like, a job is a job and my life is my life. And, you know, that's kind of confusing in another way, but it's at least healthier, I think, than just the grind that the exactly as this movie like portrays it of Jesus Christ, purgatory, basically.
Yeah, it's a weird state of purgatory.
Yeah.
Then having to bury. And then that moment of being like near death, which is very reminiscent of what when we were at the World's Fair. We're all going to the World's Fair. Is when she realizes that no, I want to be alive. Like I want to live.
Yeah.
That turn where she says, "I piss and shit myself." I went, well, you did it better than I could, because I would write a line like that. But yours was better and had more impact.
It was strong. It was really strong.
And I think that, you know what? I think a lot of that is the actor too.
Definitely.
Obviously.
Definitely.
Right? Like it's a combination of both. Great line. I love that line. I love that turn. But yeah, she goes to that before trying, and then like I escaped and dug myself out of the coffin. I pictured it a little bit like Kill Bill, but that's just me. Making it. And making out and feeling alive and finding their hearts like it was in the season finale of the Pinko, or the series finale of the Pinko Pig.
Yeah.
Before realizing I have to get Owen.
Yeah.
Still suck because she's still. I mean, she obviously cares for that dude. And doing that, and Owen and dragging Owen, we're gonna do the exact same thing.
Yeah,
I'm gonna nearly kill you and bury you.
Yeah.
And it's so crazy enough that even you as an audience are like, she could just be lying and just like insane. Yeah. It's a very real possibility, but as we find out, but it's part of the metaphor, and it's part of the whole thing. As we find out, it's very real. It probably was real.
Yep.
And then of course, I love that moment when she finishes and she's lying on there because it's a performance.
Yeah,
in the movie, but also in the world of the movie.
Owen.
Owen. Yeah. Again, bringing about that art's a way to bring new reality to people.
Yeah.
And she's lying there answering Owen's questions of like, well, yeah, but where the fuck were you? Where like you didn't answer or just asking the practical stuff.
Yeah.
How crazy she sounds to him at that moment.
And you really do feel, at least I really felt that tension of Owen being pulled between, you know what, I want to believe this. This does feel true. Everything you're saying. And also, it flies in the face of everything and is crazy.
It flies in the face of his entire perception of reality.
Yeah.
And enough for us too, because like the only real bit of supernatural we get as an audience before like the bar, before just even what she's just saying at the bar, because it's not even a real physical thing.
Yeah.
Is him surviving shoving his head into a television.
Yes.
That's the only point. That's the only point of supernatural, which is obviously like looking back now, portal crossing, but
yes.
Anyway, she drags him over to the football field to bury him behind the thing. Which, by the way, she says that it's well hidden.
It's not. It's right next
super
to the field.
Fucking is it? What is she like? Again, adding to the craziness of it.
Yeah.
And you're literally oh, go ahead.
Just to say, like, we can touch on it even when talking about the end, but there's lots of moments in this movie where people ignore what's going on in a way that's bananas. In a way that's like, wait, why is everyone acting like everyone's almost actively not noticing is how it feels in some of the movie. But to your point, go ahead.
But yeah, so we get the shot of him like, will he cross the line over the football field? Like both the football field line and then the metaphorical line into a new reality. And he kind of does, but it's to push Maddie out of the way.
Yeah.
And then he runs back to his own world.
Yeah.
As we find out, then Maddie never came back. He waited he just shut himself in his room for like a couple days.
Yes.
Before presumably. Oh, go ahead.
No, before presumably.
Just like going back to work and going back to his old life. Then we get the monologue of
So much darkness in that monologue, dude.
Yeah.
Like, oh my god.
It's like my fucking nightmare is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Of like, yeah, then another 8 years passed. Or like another no, it was a lie, right? It was like
it was another 10 years so the movie ends in 2026.
Yes.
His father dies in 2010 of a stroke. Yeah. And then obliquely, we don't get any details. But we learn that he got another job at the Funplex, which is another like liminal space reference. It's very it's very spooky Tumblr.
After the mall, the shitty theater closed.
Yes, but we also get a throwaway line of "I did everything a grown-up's supposed to do, including my own family."
I haven't. It's a bigger line than that. I have a family. I even have a family now, and I love them more than anything.
Yes, but we don't see them.
We don't see them. We don't know. He's inherited this house and is somehow able to maintain that. That must be a good. Whoever he married must make a lot of dough for that property tax. Whatever. Then, he has the TV. I love them more than anything. It all sounds so much like this is what you're supposed to do, right?
Yeah.
Like, even though we were describing very much like ace or like asexual like degrees, but also like, I mean, ace people do get married. Again, it's more complicated than probably what I'm like talking now. I'm discussing.
Yes.
So again, take that from a grain of salt from a straight dude.
One other thing, I'm just thinking. During that walk through the football field up to the thing, that's the first time we actually see him wearing the costume from the Pink Opaque. Is that right? When we finally get...
Yeah, it's a weird flashback.
Yeah.
Right? But it's also paralleling what they're doing right now.
Where we get the sense that maybe a bigger part... There was maybe more going on in those interactions that we just didn't see, but a part of it was definitely... No, because there's shots of them out in public, like out walking around, and he's in the
but they are walking at night, and they're walking in places where like people aren't going to be.
True, but just I think that shot is to say, okay, by the way, this flashback is not a one-off. This was something that happened over time, repeated. This is not a goof that he did. This is like something that he was pursuing and interested in with Maddie.
Yeah, it made me think like maybe there's more to there's a way to view this movie as like someone who's trans but never like comes out or like embraces their essentially comes out like to it because we're seeing like early steps and all that. Sorry, those are very important scenes. But yeah, we're back to the fun center. And like we said, he looks deteriorated. You get those like deranged shots of like it's a kid's birthday.
Kubrick staring down the children.
Oh, it seems like a hell to me. Like I love arcades, but man, modern arcades, like, and if you go when a fucking birthday's going on, just like fucking leave.
The games are also all pink. Maybe not all, but majoritively Pink Opaque themed for some reason.
No, there's one. It's so crazy. I wonder how they did it. They must have gotten a programmer or something. Because it's the Space Invaders arcade machine, the new one.
Oh, okay.
As I've seen in arcades. I know me and Nick were like, we have that ability where we can just call out machines.
Okay.
As we're watching. And most of them are just like either claw machines or those shitty like ticket ones.
Right.
Including a money like winter. That thing, it's a Pink Opaque thing. We also we get a thing of like, Pink Opaque, you can just stream it now, and it's so much more cheesy than I remember.
Yeah, and the costume's totally different. The cast looks totally different.
Yeah. And then it's like a way worse joke. It's all punchline to a bad joke, like at the end.
Yes.
And it's more of like, it's very different from like the Pink Opaque, like trying to challenge youth in a weird way. Versus like, we're just gonna put on whatever fucking slop we can get away with, you know?
Yeah.
And then we cut to him singing Happy Birthday, which, oh man, fuck that. Like, fuck singing.
Not only singing
I can
Happy
never
Birthday
do those
entirely.
jobs, man. I would lose, like, when he loses it, I was like, yeah, man. Yeah, fuck this.
I'm with him.
Yeah.
He has to sing Happy Birthday twice, louder and louder, and that would drive me fucking bananas. Yeah.
Oh my god. Oh my god. And then he finally snaps, and the phrase is "I'm dying."
I'm dying.
Yelling that.
I
and
need
a
my
great
mommy.
Explosive performance.
Yeah. It's very vulnerable, and I don't know what I don't know. I don't know for a fact what would happen if an adult man started howling and screaming that he's dying in front of a room full of children.
Yeah, well, just you wait. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen to you when I finally lose it. We're all waiting for the day. But just wait till my 30th birthday, dude. That's gonna be fun.
Oh Jesus! Oh God!
Yeah, what? Too real? All right, let's get back to the movie.
I was just gonna say, I think that scene is really interesting because it was the scene that hit me the hardest of Owen's perspective. That like, everybody in this world is a part of that Mr. Melancholy. Everybody here is here to actually antagonize me, because like they all just face downward.
Yeah.
Nobody addresses it. Nobody, and throughout that shot, we never ever get a shot of anybody actually addressing or recognizing. So I feel like one person theoretically would, and really, as you said, Chris, I think the only time that we get someone who isn't Maddie that shows any concern for what's going on is that neighbor, who, wonderful mother, handled it perfectly.
Yeah.
But that was like, so at that point, it does feel so eerie to just have a room full of people, like a homeless man in public style, willfully turn away and not acknowledge what's going on. Well, that was
yeah, and it's not just they're like ignoring it. They all look like they're kind of just turned off. Yeah, like they all have their heads sunk. Like it's part of like, oh yeah, he is in the Matrix. Like essentially, like he is part of some grand illusion. This is what's going on. There's no But the most important part is at the end of that freak out where he calls for his mom.
Yeah.
Again, one of the only points of comfort, and the person who would take care of, like, face his problems for him.
Yeah.
Before he's stuck in, we get that shot of him in the bathroom. As he's like trying to like wrap his head about what just happened, and then we get a very similar scene.
The money shot, guys.
Yeah, the money shot. The very similar scene from Deus Ex Machina where he cuts his chest open with a box cutter, and it's like the TV glowing.
Yep. Yeah.
Again, paralleling back to him saying, like, I think I'm like empty inside. I haven't looked. Yeah. Yeah. It's great. It's fucking great. And then you get the real tragic thing of him just walking back in through the arcade. Yeah. Putting his shirt on, walking, and just apologizing to everyone.
To everybody. I'm so sorry. And he's like croaking. He's like got water on the lung, is what it sounds like. He's barely standing. It's such a haunting ending, man. What a fucking, like, yeah, man.
Okay. Okay, so we're gonna talk about what we got out of it real quick, just because I'm looking at the time. But I do have to use the bathroom, so we're gonna take a quick break.
Okay.
Come on. And we are back. All right. So that was pretty much the movie. That was fun. Anyway, end of podcast. Let's get so let's get into Falling Action.
Okay.
Which is what we get out of it. What we think. Nick, I would like to. What'd you get out of it? What'd you think?
Yeah.
What was your read on the movie? What are some things you want to point out?
Well, I mean, besides everything you guys were talking about, like, I guess from my own perspective, like, this, I mean, definitely a movie that sits with you. If you are it seems when I was watching it, I was like, it seems like the kind of movie that the horror of it would probably work best for people that have like strong attachment to media.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I can see that.
I think it's such a. I mean, like you said, it did feel like. I mean, this sort of purgatory for at the end.
Yeah.
This sort of. I mean, from what it felt like to me was like you're seeing pretty much the worst case scenario of like letting media define you, and
yeah,
interesting.
Because essentially it's like, yeah, you essentially it's a purgatory, but it's also this in a way a punishment of never changing, and that all he saw inside of himself was the media that like was what essentially carried him through everything. All these things in his life.
Yeah. So hang on. So everything that carried him through his life, right? His comfort, like we would argue.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying I'm not here to say your take's wrong or anything, Nick. But I think we're both on the same track. But I got the opposite. I got like that the media was actually supposed to be very helpful, but he didn't. He was kind of just letting it be comfort food.
Yeah.
And like not taking away what they're kind of supposed to, which is you keep fighting type deal, or like not taking it away that Maddie, because like as we find out with the ending, Maddie's objectively right about what's going on, and not using the show to elevate yourself, right? To let a piece of art like kind of inspire you to live beyond whatever confinement you're in. Like, I get what you're saying though. I get what you're saying with the tragic, like letting a piece of media define you, because it does define Owens, but it's a very different way he utilizes the show, I guess is what I'm saying. Right. Like he's using it again to stay in that comfort. Because a lot of the lines are like, I couldn't sleep, so I watched my favorite show all over again. And as we get with Maddie, it's like when he really talks about what he thinks of that show, it's never again about the contents. It's about his memories of Maddie, and in fact, that's what the whole movie is.
It's about seeking connection with somebody else for him in that
anything sense. It's a weird thing because we're also getting like a narration of his life through him, and it's more like the only interesting parts of his life revolve around Maddie and his like time with her, right? As be it as little as we find out it is, if it can be summed up in an hour and a half, and not even there for the entire time. Yeah, so I get what you're saying. It's both the dangers, but I also think it's like, yeah, it is the dangers of letting it define you, but not in a way where you like see a piece of art to inspire you, right? To see a piece of media. Like I think that's what he's missing. Like I think that's what one of the things Owen is missing here.
Well, and if you're looking at both of the characters though, like Maddie, as you say, she's objectively correct, but she is able to interact with the art, I guess, as it would be intended. She took it as a motivator to make material changes to her life. And I'm happy to say that Owen as a character has like notes of Shinji. Like,
okay,
there is a deep deal of the anxiety of even making a decision is too much. It's too much for that character. I really can I say, Nick, I really liked your answer, truthfully. I think that, and it made me think of something else, and I want to bring it in as a quick media comparison. There's an HBO series called Fantasmas by one of the SNL writers, Julio Torres.
I've watched it.
Yeah, Do you guys remember the episode about the bisexual superhero? Because that's what I immediately thought of while you were saying that, Nick. Like, there's a plot point about
maybe. Oh no, I'm thinking of Los Spookies. I haven't watched the follow up yet. You're talking about the follow up, right?
The follow up show. Yeah.
Yeah, damn it. Okay, no, I haven't watched that one yet. I'm on.
Well,
on it.
This is the brief of it, but there's a whole episode that's largely devoted to Julio's character might get a superhero role.
Yeah,
and he's not interested. And basically his agent, as a part of talking about it, is like, don't you think it's important that the Latino community have a wonderful gay man represent them in a superhero movie?
Yeah.
And so they then go into this thing like, well, there's already a woman character who's bisexual and she's fairly popular.
Yeah.
And you then look in on this dweeby white guy who is really into the character. And he's really into the character in a kind of endearing way, because he'll go to legally not Disneyland to see the character he likes so much and say, oh, I feel very isolated because I'm bisexual and my parents aren't into it. I'm so glad that there's a superheroine like you who can represent bisexual people. And this woman starts to slowly lose her hope, because she's like, it's cool that you feel a little bit empowered by this representation in media, but what are you doing in your life that's going to like materially be good or helpful for you at all, other than just saying like, well, everybody doesn't like that I'm bisexual and I've been rejected from my family, but the comic book lady is pretty cool, so I guess that makes things, you know what I mean? Like,
he's living in fiction type
absolutely
deal. Or media.
He's living completely within the fiction rather than taking the empowerment from the fiction and then thrusting it. And like, that's kind of the argument that Julio is making, that like, I mean, the representation is cool, but it doesn't promise you that anything's gonna like come of it necessarily.
No.
Yeah.
It's it's like, it's the, he's not taking the next step, right?
Yeah.
He's okay with that comfort because the world is so, fucked up and scary maybe for him.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, I just want to say, I love that you used the term his folks weren't into it. I think that's somehow hilarious, where you're like, your kid's bisexual and then your folks are like, all right, that's cool, I'm not into it though. Like,
like you put
whatever, I guess,
in your apartment.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't.
Good for you.
But, okay.
Just this weird, like, snobby. I'm not into it.
No, you know what? Not my choice.
Not my I don't hate. I'm not even saying not to do it. I'm just not into it.
I would have gone a different way.
I would have done it different. I would have made a different choice. I would have.
But to what Nick's saying, like, I definitely get that for specifically for Owen, at least. Yeah, he's not able to take that next step, and so he's ultimately like starving himself in a metaphoric sense. Like, he's withering because fucking all you have is a TV show from 40 years ago. Like, that's a problem, guy. That's
man.
Yeah.
There was nothing else, like, even that, like, after No, but No, I'm with you, Nick. I think it does show the dangers of. You know what, you're right. It is defining if like you're just constantly in comfort, right? Comfort food.
Yeah.
It's a thing I talked about once in like a college class. I forgot what story we were reading. I want to say it was that fucking Cyberpunk Snow Crash. Where you're talking about a character. I think it's the girl. I forget her name. She's the one that wears the fucking chastity belt with like teeth on it, and like a needle that like knocks people out because it's like elephant tranquilizers. It's wild shit. But it is supposed to show just what it's like being a woman in that world that's so crazy and fucked up. And how we're just kind of okay. That's okay that we have this thing. And it was something I was kind of like talking about in class, where it's like, there's obviously a lot to talk about that thing in class, but one of the things I point out is that is that pain can be comfort. Because change is way scarier than pain. Because there's always that notion of it can be worse. It can be, even if it's better, it's like, I don't know that. And changing is terrifying. Whereas even if it's bad where you're at, sorry, Ian, let me just
go ahead.
Even if where you're at is really bad, you know you've come up with a way to deal with it. And live with it. Because humans are resilient creatures, and that a lot of it has to do with our minds. But like, you've come up with a way to deal with that situation, so you would much rather keep doing that than like try to get out of it and change, right?
We know that Owen is in an abusive situation.
Yes.
We know that because we see bruises on his neck at one point. When we get a shot of the pink opaque, he has a bruise on the nape of his neck where the tattoo should be. Like he got hit really hard.
No, so I read that as him like, because there's that scene of him trying to scrubbing it off.
Sure.
Granted, that's still a sign of like, I don't want my folks to see this shit.
If you would rather bruise yourself, what's going on? Like and
scar your neck or like.
There's other signs that things are not so good in his household. But Owen lived with his father for over a decade after his mother died.
Adulthood,
well into his adulthood. And like I think that's a reflection again of that character of, man, well, I have a somewhat softer. I'm somewhat softening because I'm also thinking like, man, when you've been abused, it's really, really fucking hard to get out, to leave it.
I know we're trying to also be like, we're not blaming the victim or anything, but we're also saying like, this is what.
This is the tragedy that he never was able to take that because honestly, with Maddie, you just wish like that was the end. That was that moment we wanted him to take. Like to have someone who supported him and wanted to get him to somewhere better, and like so. But no, we're not trying to say like, oh, why did you get beat by your dad? And you stay with your dad? Well, like that happens. I get that. Yeah.
But it's more of the tragedy of you can't help someone unless they want to be helped.
Yeah,
which is very real.
Yeah, straight up.
Anyone who's known people like that, it's way more real than you think it is. Like if you haven't, but. You can't help someone unless they want to be helped. They have to be willing to take steps.
Yeah.
And Owen isn't.
Yeah. No.
Owen literally opens up his fucking chest to show that he is what he fears.
Yeah.
And decides to go back.
Yeah. Yeah. That's brutal. Fuck, man.
Yeah. Anything? What else? What else, y'all? Allegory for not coming out as trans, maybe maybe the closest thing got me out.
I'm not being trans. I can only tell you, I definitely got a very strong vibe that Owen, would have been a big part of Owen's coming out, like especially because of my interpretation of the song. I saw the TV glow in the place called Double Lunch, which. It sounds like a lesbian bar if I've heard one. No.
Oh, is that what? I thought it was called Double Punch, but if it's Double Lunch, I can see that.
I thought it was Double Lunch.
Maybe you could be right.
But I think that there's definitely mounted plenty of evidence that Owen was an asexual lesbian woman who was just like not able to come out in the mid 90s and took a great deal of comfort from that medium and had an inspiration for like, oh my god, an image of femininity that he super associated with, which that's not uncommon, like early on to find a that's kind of the model of. Everybody has that. Everybody has that in fiction, especially as a young person. I think of, that chick, that guy. I want to be like, Antonio Banderas or whoever your '90s references.
No, absolutely. Yeah, I'm with you because like it's one. Yeah, again, as a non-trans dude, like as a straight guy, as just a heterosexual straight dudes, always take my things with a grain of salt, but like yeah, so I wouldn't know exactly I can never know exactly what people go through all that. But there are like signs that point out, and just in terms of media literacy, that there is something going on for sexuality and all that, and not being able to come out. So, I think there's another read to the movie like that. But it is this thing of like, it's a cool, interesting. It's really cool how in this movie he's constantly talking about Maddie, but Owen really is the person you're just figuring out because he's telling you without telling you, type thing.
So much,
He's telling you so much about himself without while just talking about Maddie. Throughout the movie. And constantly breaking the wall TV screen. Anything else? Anything else y'all wanna add?
The shooting style. There's two great visual references that this film keeps coming back to, and I love it. Well, one is the, as you pointed out, the bisexual lighting. There's a handful of actual props and shot styles that are evocative of Pete and Pete for me, but the one that I felt like I really wanted to hit upon is, especially when you see the last shot of the pink opaque where it's cheap and worse looking. The ice cream man looks so much like the mascot ice cream man from Pete and Pete.
Maybe,
in a way that feels really difficult. And when we get that purple shot of a burning ice cream truck at dusk, I again was like, wow, the big head, that does look like the ice cream truck from Pete and Pete. That's crazy. Okay. The 2-camera directive was also like a stylistic choice of that show. A lot of the time of narrating that in that way. And so I mean, if we'll save that for the end, but I think that's definitely worth noting stylistically, that the show was not just doing a camp take on that 90s media. They were taking a very earnest, like, the person who did this loves that stuff.
They love this shit.
Deep affection. And
100%. It's a love for all that. Well, I think that's all I got off the top of my head. Right here. I was gonna ask Nick, but I think Nick stepped out for a little bit. Let's talk about, like, so did you like the movie?
I
sound
like we did.
Yeah. I thought it was a pretty strong. I liked this one even more than the prior film in the series.
I 100% agree. I think as much as I did like We're All Going to the World's Fair, I think on a technical level, writing level, and like in terms of what they're tackling, I like this movie a lot more.
Yeah, I don't know.
Both good, I like this movie a lot.
I don't even know that it's just I know it's a budgetary jump, but I think you're exactly right.
A24 is pushing this one.
There's just more clarity of voice and style in this movie, I think, and I really appreciate it. It's beautifully shot. There's lots of great choices. The effects are, well thought out and kind of sparingly used, truthfully, to kind of wake you up, get your attention at specific moments. So, I love that.
Nick, how about you?
No, I loved it. Like, it's definitely one that to sit with for a bit. I definitely agree. Like, it's definitely liked it more than the prior one, but the prior one is pretty good. I'm just really interested in that ending. Like, more like what it's supposed to represent. But
so any last words before we go into the denouement about the movie? Any last things you want to talk about?
Fred Durst, you all got fooled.
Oh, I got fooled.
You got dursted.
We all got fooled. We all got dursted.
We're like, he's a good actor.
Did you guys know that Fred Durst is good at pretending to be fucking terrifying?
Chris, you can never talk shit about Clark Kent as Superman with the glasses thing, because the moment Fred Durst took his red hat off, you don't know it was Fred Durst.
Also, to be fair, I have not been keeping up with Limp Bizkit. I know they came out with a new album and like a year or two back. I did not know what he looked like now. So I'll give that to myself as a defense.
No, you should always know.
No, I should always know. Yeah, no, fair enough.
We got to keep eyes on the Durst. Make sure he can't sneak up on us.
It's like Tony Hawk with and without the skateboard.
That's true. That's true. All right, time for the denouement. Anything you would recommend to people after listening to this podcast and watching this movie?
Yeah, I'll throw out really quick. If you guys want to check out more of the material, we've last time I recommended a Lynch movie because of the influences from Twin Peaks and all that. This time I'm gonna say Adventures of Pete and Pete are free on YouTube right now. Full episode.
Really? That's cool.
Go watch Halloweener, which was one of my favorite episodes of Halloween growing up, and it's weird and quirky and kind of off center and eerie, but that was 1994, man. Halloween. That was oh my gosh. What about you guys?
Nick, you got anything?
Well, I mean, it's tough to top that. It's crazy because like the only thing I can see that's similar in vein to this is probably Videodrome.
Ooh.
Oh, hey man, that's a good one. Videodrome.
That's a great one. Yeah,
I think because I guess in similar vein of that, I would probably say that or Crimes of the Future.
We weaponized cancer. Is your
Weaponize it. Glory to the new flesh. Anyway.
Hell yeah.
Hail the new flesh.
Yeah. Okay. So last time I recommended Daisy Brown. That one. I mean, if you haven't watched any David Lynch stuff, go watch David Lynch. Twin Peaks is a great series to get into if you vibe with this stuff. If I had to go a little bit more obscure, or you know what, let's go the 90s TV route. Yeah, go watch Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Heck yeah.
And because I just mentioned Freaky Links, go watch Freaky Links.
Go
I was
watch.
super into that show. That was that weird. That was that weird era where they're trying to like combine TV and the internet, right?
Yes.
So there's a TV aspect, and then each episode had found footage stuff with all the monsters that the actors would shoot themselves that looked like you found it on the internet. I don't know if that show's still good. I should go back and watch it. I haven't watched it since I was, which is really on brand for like most of my shit. I was watching that shit in like middle school and high school and like early high school. Go watch Freaky Links and let me know. Let me know if it's still good.
Comment down below.
Very, very aughts and like late 90s. Good shit. Good shit. All right. I think that'll do it. That was a long one.
That was a good one.
Good one. All right. Yeah.
And that's what we got. We'll work on the tune. We'll work on the tune.
All right. Bye.